Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much. Wow, thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow. Save some for the end. How many of you have never seen me before? This is your first time. Wow, everybody. So I'm not so famous after all. Anyway, nice to have all of you here. It's a long journey here for me from the farms of southern Idaho, where I grew up, to, next door to Disneyland, with all the spotlights and cameras and all of you here. It's just a bit much. It's unbelievable. I did my first for-pay seminar in 1963 at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills, California, called Adventures in Achievement. So this now makes my year number 41. So, a lot of years. And my big purpose now is to keep my journey going. I just got back from Argentina last week. And next week I go to Venezuela. Toward the end of the month, back to Italy and Europe. A little later in the year, Asia, South Africa, and Australia, and who knows where else. So from my travels around the world, I just really dropped by to say hello and share some ideas. But I'm thankful for the opportunity to share these ideas one more time. The ideas I want to share with you so dramatically changed my life. I'm always excited about the opportunity to share them, one more time. I quit school at age 19, unfortunately. My reasoning was, I'm smart enough to get a job. How much smarter do you need to be? And with that bit of shallow thinking, I quit school at age 19. A little while later, I went to work. A little while later, got married, started this little family. And I'm out there working hard, doing the best I could. But falling a little bit behind every year. Finally, the creditors once in a while are starting to call, saying, you told us the check was in the mail. And I'm embarrassed by that. And then I'm sure some of you, if you've listened to my cassette tapes or the CDs or heard some of my material, the Girl Scout story finally occurred, age 25. I hear this knock on the door. I go to the door, and there's this Girl Scout, about this tall, selling cookies for the Girl Scouts. I mean, she gave me one of the finest sales presentations I've ever heard. Special deal, several flavors, Girl Scouts, best organization in the world, only $2. And with a big smile, she very politely asked me to buy. No problem. I wanted to buy. Big problem. I didn't have $2 in my pocket. I'm a grown man. I live in America. I'm married with a family. I've been to college 1 year. And I've been working for 6 years, from age 19 to 25, and I didn't have the $2 in my pocket. And I didn't want to tell her that. That seemed too embarrassing. So I did what I thought was next best. I lied to her. And I said, look, we've already bought lots of Girl Scout cookies. We've still got plenty in the house we haven't eaten. She said, oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. And she leaves. When she leaves, I say to myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. I mean, how low can you get lying to a Girl Scout, right? I mean, that's the ultimate. So I started my search that day, and sure enough, very shortly, I met this extraordinary man by the name of Mr. Earl Schoaf, and my life was never the same after that. Chris mentioned ideas, and that's where this whole flow of unique ideas started for me, age 25. I had the opportunity to go to work for this extraordinary man. I worked for him for 5 years. Then, unfortunately, he died, age 49. But the things he taught me during that 5 years transformed my economic life especially, but my personal life, my leadership chances, all of that came from that unique experience. So maybe it's true when the student is ready. When someone says, I've had it, you know, this is it, I don't want to live like this anymore, and then you begin a new search. So make this note now for the first of the notes we're going to share in my portion for today. If you start the search, the odds are excellent you will find good ideas. If you search, you will find. Finding is reserved for those that search. Ideas are not reserved for those that hope. They're not reserved for those that wish. They're not reserved for those who complain. You know, good ideas are reserved for those that search. So the first thing I want to do is congratulate all of you for being here, continuing your search, spending the money and spending the time to come and spend a few days and see if you can't, through the accumulation of hours and speakers that we have during this weekend, go home with a harvest of good ideas for your business, for your life, for your marriage, for your friendships, for your economic future, and, you know, for all of the rest. We've all heard the expression, nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come. How very true. The walls came tumbling down about 15, 16 years ago in Germany, and the time had come for capitalism to finally reach those unfortunate countries that have been dominated by communism for so long. And that idea now is beginning to flourish. I've been teaching capitalism now for the last 10 years in Russia. I've made 5 trips to all the major cities. It's incredible when an idea finally comes and the time is right, what can happen. So, ideas, when an idea and its time is ready, it can be incredible. But now here's the next part for your notes. Nothing so powerful as an idea that comes at the right time. And hopefully today for you and the rest of this series of good trainings, this would be a good time for you. Maybe you've got 3 numbers of the lock that needs 4 numbers. And you've already got 3 already dialed in from, you know, the sermons you've heard and the lyrics of the songs you've listened to and personal conversations and meetings and trainings and seminars and books you've read, all of that, right? You got the 3 numbers. And just maybe, this weekend could well be that 4th number for you that you've been looking for. And the lock will open and the door will open, and there could be some real new accelerated opportunity for you over the next few years of your life. So I hope that's true. From what I have to say and from Dennis and Brian and other speakers that are going to share with you, this could be a very important weekend for you. I hope it's one of those life-changing weekends where you look back and say, wow, I was never the same. And the chances are excellent if you keep going to as many things as you can get to in terms of information, ideas, seminars, lectures. Because if you go continuously and systematically, some of them will be routine, some of them may be ordinary, and then just once in a while, some may be extraordinary, and you're never the same again. And you'll look back on that experience and say, that was one of the days that turned my life around. So I hope this weekend, from what I have to share and the rest of the speakers, this is one of those extraordinary weekends for you. Here's another note to make. No one person has all the answers. No one person has all the ideas. We need to gather ideas from a variety of voices and from a variety of experience, from social to personal to political to the management of time, the conservation of resources, business, entrepreneur, career, all of that. Being a good parent, a good mother, being a good father, being a good friend, a business colleague. You've got to have a whole variety of ideas. So this weekend, we're going to have a chance for that. Multiple speakers and a chance for multiple ideas to come your way. Next, is a little phrase that I'd like to have you memorize. And if you memorize it, I'm sure it'll follow you for the rest of your life. And if you're ready, say, I'm ready. Ready. Here is the phrase. You can write it down as we memorize it. Here it is. From testimonials and personal experience, repeat that for me. From testimonials and personal experience, we have enough information to conclude. I'll let you write it down. We have enough information to conclude. So repeat for me. We have enough information to conclude. If you were composing this, I don't know what you would write after this. We have enough information to conclude that it's possible. Jot that down, that it's possible. So repeat for me, that it's possible. And the rest. To design and live an extraordinary life. Make that note, to design and live an extraordinary life. So repeat that for me. To design and live an extraordinary life. Now, let's repeat it from the beginning. Here we go. From testimonials and personal experience, we have enough information to conclude that it's possible to design and live an extraordinary life. I hope you will give that little phrase some consideration, and here's what's next. I hope you buy the idea that from testimonials and personal experience, we have enough information to conclude that it's possible to design and live an extraordinary life. And what I want this weekend to be for you is the gathering of more ways and means to design and live for you an extraordinary life. I don't know how far you want to go. Here's the first essence of life, and that is self-preservation. To produce enough to take care of yourself. The instructions given right to the couple that left the Garden of Eden. One was to multiply. It's a lonely place with only 2 people. But here were the next instructions, to be fruitful. How fruitful, how productive should one be? And here's number 1, to produce enough to survive. To produce enough to take care of yourself. And self-care is important. If you're flying on an airplane, the flight attendant says if for some reason we run out of oxygen, these oxygen masks will fall from the ceiling, and if you have children with you, quickly take care of them, then take care of yourself. No. 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 They say what? Put your mask on first. Put your mask on first. See to your survival first. Then you'll be more capable of taking care of the survival of your children. Isn't that interesting? My father had an interesting saying. He said, son, right after me, you come first. I thought, wow, that's okay. I was in business with Bob Cummings, the old movie star. We were in the health and nutrition business together back in the 60s, 61, 2, 3. Bob had an interesting saying. Here's what he said, I'll take care of me for you. Will you please take care of you for me? So the first challenge in life is to take care of yourself. It is to survive. So, to produce enough to survive, to take care of yourself. But now what's next? Well, all alone, it's a lonely life. So let's say the man now chooses a partner. Now he must figure out how to produce enough for himself and his spouse, his wife, his partner. Someone says, well, why do that? Why not just take care of yourself? And the answer is, it's a very small life. It's a very limited life. We wouldn't call it flourishing. We wouldn't call it abundant. Just taking care of yourself. That is the first rule, but that's only the beginning. So the man gets married. Now he must produce enough for himself and for his wife. And here's the key phrase to make a note of: to live the higher life. A life of togetherness. The storyteller says, it seems even God didn't want to be alone. He created all of these angels. Right? So, to join with someone, now you must produce enough for yourself, for your partner. Now, is that it? And the answer is no. How about children? Let us have children. That's a unique experience. So now if the man has a wife and now he has children, here's the challenge: to produce enough for himself and his family. Now someone says, well, why take on all of that? Why not just take care of yourself? You could, yes, but you couldn't live this more extraordinary life without taking on the responsibility of having a partner, having some children, and live that kind of extraordinary life. So I think everybody would agree. Now, is that the end of it? No. Here's the next challenge: to produce more than you need for yourself and for your family. Someone says, well, now why start being ridiculous here? Yes, produce enough for yourself. Well, yes, if you want to get married, produce enough for yourself and for your spouse. Now, with children, produce enough for your family, but why do more than that? And jot down the answer: to live a more extraordinary life. So now the man produces more than he needs for himself and for his children, so that he can be a person of benevolence, so that he can give and so that he can share. That's the more abundant, that's the more extraordinary life. To produce more than you need for yourself and for your children. Is that it? Let's take it a couple of more steps. How about producing much more than you need for yourself and for your family? Someone says, well, now you're off the scale. I mean, why work that hard? Why go that far? Why produce that much? Some would say, just take care of yourself. Some would say, just, get a partner and that's it, and then children and that's it. And be a bit benevolent and that's it. But why not go this next step and produce much more than you need for yourself and for your children? And when someone says, why do that, all of us know the answer, right? Why not? If you've got the talent and the skill and the opportunity, why not put all of that together and see if you couldn't produce much more than you need for yourself and for your family? Let's say you earned $10 million this year, and you and your family only need $3 million. Which would probably cover most families, right? Some families are more expensive than others, as I discovered. But let's say $3 million would, cover a big, high percentage. So now if you and your family only needed $3 million for the year, now you have $7 million to give. And someone says what? Why do that? And the obvious answer is what? Why not? If you've got the talent and the skill and the time and the opportunity and the occasion and all this stuff comes together, why not? Let's go one more. How about producing far more than you need for yourself and for your family? And live the far more life. We've heard the story of Andrew Carnegie, right? Andrew Carnegie said this. He built the big steel industry back in the 20s here in America. Here was Andrew Carnegie